Where's my microphone? There's my microphone. Good evening. Having a drink here for Lee Iacocca, who passed away, I think it was last night, the night before. One of the creators of American car culture, and for that, even the world. Nick isn't here. He's on his way. We're having thunderstorms right now in Pennsylvania. So he's going to get here, when he gets here. So for now, it's just you and me. I Stink says, got my honey and Jack to celebrate. I am going to get the audio going on the podcast for the recorder over there. And I can also see I need to be moving the camera a little bit more toward the futon. Paul doesn't have a question, but thank you so much for 99 cents. Oh, no, that's too much. Better. Yeah, it's good. I'm just going to sit in Nick's chair because Nick has the better chair. That futon isn't too good on my back. Murray Mackenchuck doesn't have a question, but thank you for $1. What's been going on with me lately is I've been getting so efficient with producing regular car reviews is that I'm usually done by Tuesday. I do audio editing on Sunday. Typically, I write the review like Friday or something like that and then record it, which I'll probably do tomorrow during the day. Super chat went by. I don't have my tablet. My tablet's over there. So I'm just looking at it as stuff goes by right here. TBM Adventure, great plane, and also Samuel Hines, who wrote Flights of Passage, flew one of those things. I think TBM Adventure was the largest single-engine plane ever made. The boss man just says, my dad just passed away, and all the jokes you make about cars are keeping me going. Thanks. Also, we're going to be wrapping this up exactly at 8 p.m. tonight. That's going to be 6 to 7. That's going to be an hour and a half. So this podcast is only going to be an hour and a half long. We have a hard out at 8 p.m. I'm going to immediately watch the question and answer for the Ushanka show. So everybody, if you want to follow me when I'm done with this, we go over the YouTube channel Ushanka show because Sergey is putting on a live stream. I want to collaborate with that YouTuber. His whole YouTube channel is telling stories about growing up in the USSR. And I'd like to meet him. He lives, I think, in Minnesota or Michigan. I'm balking on one of the two. Anyway, Midwest. And it'd be great if he could come down to the Lane Motor Museum in Tennessee and drive some of their Eastern European cars and just, get his take on that sort of thing. Jonathan Lopez says, what beer are you drinking? I am not drinking beer. I'm drinking liquor. I'm drinking gin martini. The perfect, the most inappropriate drink for a hot day. I think maybe milk stout would be worse. All right, I'm going to get this recorder going here. Let's see. Test on there. Test on this mic. Good. Holding for sound. Welcome to RCR Podcast number 64 for Lee. This is hello, everybody, on the thing that popular people use. and they're all sophisticated and drink coffee from Starbucks. iTunes, there we go. For everybody on iTunes, this podcast is going to be abruptly ending in 1 hour and 27 minutes. Because we're all going to go over to the Ushanka Show's YouTube channel and watch his question and answer, because that guy's incredible. Nick isn't here yet, so at any moment you're going to hear Nick coming through the door. So everybody welcome Nick when he shows up. I am already drinking right now. This is a story of my life, and which is weird. I go in waves. Like, for those of people who hang out with me in real life, when we go out to a bar, I only have 2 drinks, because after that I just get a headache. It used to be, when I was in college, I could go all night, but not anymore, man. It's like 2 drinks and I'm done. However, when I'm at home, I just kind of cruise until bedtime. I guess what I'm doing is I'm drinking very small amounts, spaced out. So I don't know, maybe it still comes out to 2 drinks. Oh, I love olives when they get soaked in gin. Workforce 520, hello. Opinion on the Oxford comma. Use it. The whole reason the Oxford comma was, and people can correct me if they want. The story I heard in college was that the reason the Oxford comma went away, Mary went to the store, she bought eggs, comma, milk, comma, and comma, bread. The comma after the and, that's the Oxford comma. The whole reason it went away is because the New York Times wanted to save on ink, because it was understood that the and in a series or a break between 2 clauses counts as a break. So just saving that one little tiny little bit of ink, Robert McNamara would get hard thinking of bean counting like that. It was pure penny pinching that comma went away. Use it or don't use it, I don't care. I tend to use it. I love gin soaked olives. Reed Sanborn, hello. Says, what will it take for you to do an RCR on my truck? I'm in New Hampshire, so it's a bit of a haul. I'll pay for your gas. Let me know what it will take. It'll take me to go skiing up in New Hampshire. We haven't done any New England anything. 5 years of doing RCR, still haven't gone up to the Boston area, although we wouldn't film in Boston, of course. We'd film in the outskirts of it. There are a number of really good breweries that I want to go to up there. Can I name them? No. But that's going to be... God, I really like to go to Killington. Wait, Killington's Vermont. That's not New Hampshire. New Hampshire still has skiing. That's the way to tempt me to go places. Entice me with skiing, because that's what I love. I really need to find something to do with my time now that I'm editing RCR so fast. I get lonely, man. And when I hang out with people, I don't really want to talk about cars. I want to talk about anything else. So I've been volunteering a lot on the Appalachian Trail or Appalachian Trail, depending on what you want to call it. And I go to shelters and I clean them and I pick up trash. But my ulterior motive for doing that is just lingering around and talking to hikers, because I see them coming and it's so like, hello, friend, you're someone else who can talk to me. But I feel embarrassed that I do that, because it's the same move as an old man trying to chat up a grocery clerk, because the grocery clerk is trapped behind the deli counter, has no choice but to talk to you. And the hikers aren't going anywhere. They're at a shelter, so they'll talk to me. They don't know who I am and they don't care. Not that I am anybody, but what I really miss is hanging out with friends from college and high school and not doing anything. being at a Dunkin' Donuts or the dining hall, and we were all brothers and sisters and everybody else in this war, not really against the university, but against grades. We're all suffering for the same thing. Oh, there's Nick. Nick's knocking at the door. One sec. Come on in, we're rolling. I was sitting in your chair.
No worries.
If we had a track, we would just play like the entrance music, like "Ladies and Gentlemen, Nicholas Roman." So I've been answering some super chats, but I didn't get my tablet going.
Oh, all right.
So I was talking about how I am getting so efficient now at doing RCR. I'm typically done editing by Tuesday, which grants me terrible freedom.
Yes.
And it's so weird that writing and riffing about cars used to be my hobby, and now the hobby is the job.
Yeah.
So now what?
Find a new hobby.
Yeah.
I do screenwriting in my free time, and there's scripts that like I don't really have any plans on doing anything with them. I mean, like I wrote an RCR musical, for crying out loud. It's like,
wait, yeah, you made some sort of post about that.
Yeah, it was just like a fun thing to do. Like I'm never gonna make the thing, but I got on a Broadway musical kick, as I am wont to do, and I just decided to make this kind of weird musical about it's like people trying to figure out like who Mr. Regular is. It's completely fictionalized versions. This Mr. Regular is not at all you. This Roman is not at all me. They're like completely different people, but it's kind of like a what if someone who wasn't us did RCR. And it uses like RCR characters, like DJ Double Lunch is a character.
Yeah.
Harold Slavinsky's in there somewhere, but like he's not really like Harold Slavinsky. It's just like the name in a weird way.
Man, if only we could, if he's still alive, get the real Dr. Schwartz to play the Harold Slavinsky, but give him no notes on this. It'd be like, you do you.
Yeah. Just be yourself, you know, on the inside, but also the outside. But that's kind of what I do. Also hanging out with my nephew is taking up a lot of my free time because, well, again, it's like I'm the one who has him in the summer because, you know, I'm the one who works from home. So we went to the trampoline park today. So there was a lot of jumping involved. It was very exhausting. But yeah, that was a good time. But yeah, it's strange. It was, let me put this on standby. When I got out of Spider-Man Far From Home last night, that's when
I'm not going to see it, so you tell me all about it.
Oh, well, and no spoilers. It's fantastic. But basically that's when I found out about Iacocca, because from Tony Airlines, because he tagged me on Twitter and said, I was just listening, or Strange, I was just listening to At the Roman Nick's The Ballad of Lee Iacocca from the RCR album.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the rest of the post, just that what Tony wrote. And so I'm thinking, if he's writing Strange, I was just thinking about Lee Iacocca. I'm like, shit, he probably died.
93 or 94 years. I heard both.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
I saw 93 and I saw 94, but I saw 94 more than I saw 93. So, I mean, like I knew it was coming eventually. But it's still sad in the sense that, you know, this is somebody whose importance in automotive history has kind of been somewhat minimized in current car culture.
Yeah.
It's almost like people don't really know how important he was because like this is a guy who could have been president.
Yeah.
And
that was like one of the taglines for his autobiography, the man who could have been president.
Yeah. And it's a very strange thing when you think about how he was always so principled throughout his entire life. Now, I'm not trying to necessarily deify the man. I know that there are some people who felt like he screwed over the people in Kenosha, Wisconsin during the AMC sale, but it's kind of one of those things where, you look at the sum total of I was talking to my friend Matt about this, about how he's almost kind of like the automotive Forrest Gump, in that Forrest Gump keeps showing up in all these historical events, and Lee Iacocca is just like everywhere.
Right.
You could even claim that he kind of had a hand in the GTO or something,
right?
Because that was all, the birth of the pony car, the muscle car revolution, and all this. Because it's like, why wouldn't you think that the generation that was responsible for the popularity of rock music taking hold, like rock and roll, would be able to translate into turning car culture into something more popular?
Rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. And that's essentially what the Mustang did. It turned car culture into rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like, he had a radio DJs around the country, each get one, and so they could talk them up. It was the original like promo code this of, hey man, you got to try this. And he didn't get a lot in the budget to do the Mustang. He had to kind of make it with, a minimal, not a minimal budget, but less than you would expect to roll out a production car at that level. But
people have heard me say this again and again. Put a first gen Mustang next to a first gen Falcon, technically 1964 and a half, and you're going to see all the dimensions are the same, save an inch or two there, because all the tooling is the same.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a guy up the road selling a 1965 Falcon.
Ooh.
Asking price $7,500. And
whoops!
Wait! I'll turn it off. I'm an Olive Garden.
I'm trying to.
It's the boomer ballad of 1,000 phones going off, and they stare at him confused. Only had the phone 2 years, still haven't figured out. So they just start swiping in every direction, and then they just get up and salute the flag.
Oh. Live. I'm just sharing it and letting people know that we're live now, but it had to play the ad first because I don't have ad block on my phone, because I like sort of supporting the content creators that I like. Now, granted, if it's one of those things where they're like doubling up on ads now, where they do the 1-2 like right at the beginning, I'll like let the one play and skip the second, but sometimes you don't even get that option.
I get that on like these long play Mallsoft or ambiance videos that are like 3 hours long. But if I see those yellow marks in there, I'm not listening to it, because I can handle like being jarred out of my sleep a little bit by an ad, but sometimes that ad will play for 5 minutes unless you skip it.
I keep waiting for it to end while I'm lying in bed, and I'm thinking, man, this is going on a really long time. I don't know. I could understand if it were a movie trailer. Like, that's how I ended up seeing the trailer for Knives Out, which is the new Rian Johnson movie.
Is
the
that
guy
a
who
Bond
made Brick. It has Bond. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. And not Jake Gyllenhaal. Chris Evans, Captain America. But yeah, it's a pretty good cast lined up. And I'm just kind of thinking, well, I mean, I don't know when I'm going to see this trailer, so let me just let it play.
Okay.
And so, letting it live, or letting it roll live.
Mark Arzani doesn't have a question, but thank you so much for your donation. Boostin' Boys, I remember your name. Would you be interested in reviewing a 1986 300SX and a 1987 200SX located in Ohio? I also have a 1985 200SX. Those are definitely cool cars. You'd probably have to drive to Pittsburgh. I don't know if we have any Ohio plans. Also, I don't have any Pittsburgh plans at all. So, but please do send me an email, regularcarreviews@gmail.com. Excuse me, that's incorrect. regularcars@gmail.com. Your make, model, city, state in the title of the email, and put your phone number in the body of the email. And I'll do what I can. And thank you so much for your donation. Tom Jefferson doesn't have a question. Oh, wait. Tom Jefferson does have a question. How's the Vagabond Falcon doing? The Vagabond Falcon is in my... Thanks for asking. The Vagabond Falcon is in my garage with its hood up. Nothing's wrong. It's just, it's been 90 degrees. in the midday every day, so the engine's getting hot. I tried to race a Harley trike conversion like 3 days ago, coming away from Wawa. I saw him. We were both leaving Wawa, and he immediately got into the fast lane, making that left turn out of Wawa, heading toward my house. And I got in the slow lane, and I'm like, I'm passing you. But it was hot, and I was at that light for a while.
Yeah.
So the engine bay was heat soaked, and I vapor locked a little bit. The Falcon accelerated up to 60 miles an hour and then just started stumbling. Full throttle, nothing. I'm like, crap, I have no fuel pressure.
Yeesh.
Nothing. So there's nothing. It's not that I'm going to stop. It's just that the engine's so hot, the fuel's vaporizing in the carburetor, and the mechanical fuel pump can't keep up. So again, I had to have that mechanical fuel pump, and I had to have that different timing cover and all that stuff, and that contributed to the problem, and I couldn't have this. So, and also I was trying to race a guy on a Harley trike conversion. I mean,
yeah, it's what are you gonna do?
So we're in these July, August where the Falcon will drive, but only really at night.
Yeah,
where it's nice and cool out, and I will have no cooling problems. And then September rolls around, and our blessed October will show up when things are crisp and nice. And then the Falcon almost drives every day in October. I just switch over to my motorcycle during the summer. Wah.
Yeah.
First world problems. By the way, I've been riding around my 650F on the hot days, and man, that fan only comes on when it sits. The second that thing starts running, that fan turns right back off again. It is so good at cooling itself. Zach Hellman says, cheers from Ames, Iowa, which I intend to visit. And I'm taking a week off this month, and I'm kind of leaning on going out to Ames, Iowa to visit my friend Tom. I didn't even message him on Facebook. But it's an idea. Like Nick is going to have a video, I think the second to last week of this month.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take it easy. So I could just go out to Ames, Iowa and just hang out in Ames, Iowa. Or I could go visit Foster out in Indiana again.
Maybe.
He moved to south. We were up in Muncie, but he moved south to some city south of Indianapolis. Whatever. Cheers from Ames, Iowa, where it's also raining hard. You still plan on coming out this way? Yes. Also when it's not flooding. Oh, does Ames flood like in the summertime? Because I looked at the topographical maps, and there's no lines on them in Iowa. It's literally just like the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street and doesn't have to do any hill starts.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. We don't need any Anvil salesmen in Iowa. Digging deep on my references here. The Music Man?
Haven't seen it in a really long time. Speaking of, like, that's weird for me being into musicals, but
Anyway. Daniel Spinelli, probably no relation. He's from Canada. Here's some RCR lift funding or beers. Great microbrews here in French Canuckistan. Question, do you like Lego? I just built the Saturn V, summer teacher for life. I do like Lego, and Nick had this rant. I don't know if you talked about it. You're trying to find just the old school box of...
yeah.
Talk about that while I re-drink.
Party foul.
My martini glass, I just broke it.
Wah.
So I just broke my one glass that I like to drink martinis from, but it was an old school glass. It was like a champagne skirted one, not a true martini glass. No big deal. I'll just go to like the restaurant store. Tomorrow's the 4th of July, so I have to go there Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. The restaurant store doesn't sell you individual glasses. They have to make you buy a case. No.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine if you go somewhere to like some kind of fair tomorrow for the 4th of July that you could win one in a raffle, like a single glass. Like, here's
I'm sure Boscov sells them.
Yeah, Boscov's, they have everything.
Can't believe I broke my martini glass. All I did was knock it on the table. Man, now I got to drink a martini out of a tumbler.
Well, yeah, my big issue with the Lego thing was that we wanted to get my youngest nephew for his birthday just a thing of Legos, just regular ass Legos that nobody's going to mess with, that isn't pre-imagined for you, because he's one of those kids where these work sets with their instructions and all that other stuff, like, it's ridiculous. And sure, you can create your own stuff out of those pre-planned like sets, but you're extremely limited in what you can build. And so I feel like, the imagination should be encouraged, and young minds should be stimulated. And so for his birthday, I wanted to go find him just a box of Lego bricks, and everywhere I went, there were no just regular plain Legos that aren't from a set. And, it's like that Simpsons joke of, Lisa wanting to find just a regular plain box of Legos, and the Lego Corporation or company, whatever, they wanted to do all the imagining for her. But I eventually came across the Lego Creations line, which is basically that. It's a box of regular Legos, but it still comes with a little card of suggestions, because it's like, we can't just let kids make whatever they want. And I get that in a micro sense, maybe they're trying to do a good thing of like, if somebody is trying to think of like where to start, and then hopefully by starting, they will be able to transition more into making their own thing. Like, it'll get the ball rolling. But it's just weird to me in that, you couldn't go to a McDonald's when I was a kid without seeing one of those Lego tables that were there. And, you just screw around on there and it's whatever. But now it's just people wanting to sort of take the imagination out of play.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I love Toy Story 4 so much, which, again, no spoilers, but it's the type of movie absolutely no one was asking for, but I'm really glad exists now. Because I thought Toy Story 3 was like the perfect ending, and then Toy Story 4 has an ending that's just as good. But yeah, it's a very satisfying thing. But in the same way, it's kind of how do you value the things that you own,
right? And
in a very car type way, it circles right back around to it, in that, how do cars obtain value? Well, it's what you put into it yourself,
right?
If I was coming out of the trampoline park and I couldn't find my car anywhere, and I was losing my mind because I'm looking for like 5 minutes, it's not where I parked it. And I finally found her in like the far off corner, because apparently this was the one day out of all the times that we go to that park where I just parked in a different place entirely, and it was completely obscured by all these like mom, no lie, a Ford Aerostar van. Like, it's just why what is this with the I don't know. But it's very much, I started immediately in my mind going to that dark place of like, man, am I gonna have to call the cops now? Like,
I get that when I ride my bike a lot, that I think, because the bike hides behind cars. I try to park close to the front of the parking space, so people know that there's a vehicle there. But occasionally it's like, well, I guess somebody took the bike, because I'm not really good at putting the handlebar lock on. But even then, people can break those things and then just pop the bike into neutral and wheel it off. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, with the exception of my Falcon, all my vehicles are $5,000 or less. So that's, I think, the biggest comfort to like that moment of, oh no, where's my car? Because I'm more, I think, what was I thinking? I think, I had my good shirt in the little luggage pod on my bike. I'm more concerned about the stuff that's in the car than the car itself.
Oh, go ahead.
Because I had this moment where they're doing the old, and this is a Pennsylvania thing, For the people who are listening who aren't in Pennsylvania, you may not know the delightful road resurfacing technique called fresh oil and chips, where where they lay down tar and then just spread gravel on top of it, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And the cars will pack it down, and then they'll spray more oil, they'll spray more tar on top of it, and eventually it'll be resealed. But it's like fresh oil and chips for like a good few weeks. So
yeah. What are you gonna do?
And it's the back road to my parents' house, which I take all the time. And I knew I saw the surface and I'm like, oh, fresh oil and chips time. I don't slow down. It's a freaking $5,000 Subaru. And even that is paid too much for it. It's a 04 Forester. Ooh. Yeah. And I have a manual, so it's all-wheel drive all the time.
To be fair, you waited a really long time to get that manual because you wanted it in manual.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, there was the whole, like, call at Deer Lake Auto of just, like, could you keep a lookout?
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, like, oh, you're never going to replace Sally because you're never going to find this manual for a reasonable price in this area. Right. Because if anyone finds it, they're going to want to charge you out the ass to, like, they're gonna send it over there.
Like $6,000 for it.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I drive the wheels off the Forester, and I'm just cruising down this road at 40 miles an hour. Speed limit's 35. It's PA. And also, Subaru's speedometer goes a little bit high, so who knows? I'm going along. I'm not slowing down for the corners. I know what this car is going to do. It starts sliding a little bit, but it's not out of control. I'm not rally driving it. I'm just not. I haven't adjusted my driving at all, knowing that these tires are good and it's an all-wheel drive system, and I know how this car handles. And of course, everybody's going, and I hit the line of cars going 15. And, down from fifth gear into fourth gear, third gear. Really, I'm pumping this down to second now. And eventually I get to a straightaway. And it's someone in a Volkswagen Touareg going 15 miles an hour. I'm like, that's another all-wheel drive vehicle, but it's new. So I get why you're not throwing tarry pieces of stone up underneath your car. But I don't care what's underneath my car because it's an old car. Yeah. So it's an car. So I saw it was up ahead. I just gave like 3 flashes of the high beam, get into the second gear, and I just wrap up to 5,000 RPM, and I bang those gears. The EJ25, do what you can. Yeah. And I motor ahead, and I'm sure the person in that car cursed me for doing that.
Yeah, but you're never going to see them again. It's like, it's one of those things of just, I see a lot of people do things like that, and I don't really begrudge them that if they can do it safely without like.
There's no road markings, and there was no, technically it wasn't a construction zone because there was no sign. So if you want to get litigious about it, I was well into my rights to make a careful pass about this person just poking along on the fresh oil and chips.
Yeah, it's weird. I took your edict, or like one of your sayings became like one of my sayings, which is I don't see a sign saying I can't. Like I use that like all the time now, and now I think like my nephew, that's going to be like in his head now because I'm just like, well, I don't, because I come to this, no turn here or whatever. Okay, I can't do that, but when I come to a different part, I'm like, well, I see no sign saying I can. Yeah, and if I get pulled over, just be like, hey, I didn't know I couldn't do that in a very Dave Chappelle way.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's like, it's,
well, now you know.
Yeah, now you know. Let's sprinkle some crack on him and get out of here. No.
Super chat. I told everybody we have a hard out at 8 p.m.
At 8 p.m. because of the
Ushanka show.
Ushanka show.
So probably at 7:30 in 30 minutes. No more super chats because we're going to have to get through all of these things.
Do you still have the sign?
Yeah, it's over there.
Oh, all right, cool. I didn't know if it just like sort of, I don't know what I would expect to happen to the sign. But
half-life into the carpet.
Yeah. Biodegradable.
Okay. Reed Sanborn says, done Killington plus Reynolds if you need them. Harpoon Brewery. I've heard of Harpoon. Is 18 minutes from my house. Killington is 38 minutes. Fuck. When he says done Killington plus Reynolds if you need him. Oh, He says, done. That's what it takes to get to New England is to tempt me with a Killington trip. I would drive up there. I haven't been to Killington. I should ask Foster if he wants to go because apparently I haven't skied with him, but he's a good skier. Now, he was just at Copper Mountain last winter. So, East Coast is what it is. Yeah. It's not West Coast. I will be going to Copper Mountain this winter. That'll be my winter trip. But I'm like, yo, Foster, fly to Philly. We'll go skiing at...
I just caught my beer gut in there.
Well, I'll fly to Philly. We'll go skiing at Blue Mountain, and we'll road trip up to Killington. Whether or not Tony Airlines can get off for that, I don't know. Reed Sanborn, if you're still listening, send me an email, regularcars@gmail.com. Just say RCR ski trip, and that will get my undivided attention. Raffle Bomber 2012 says, come down to Denver. We're still skiing up here. Yeah, I bet you are. Crazy Coloradians. Workforce 520 has a reply saying, people had questions about where I stood on the Oxford comma, and I say use it. It's not costing you anything.
That's the one that comes before and, right? In a list of things.
After and. Or wait, you're right. You're right. Before and.
Yeah. Because then in that case, I could understand why people hate it. I don't use it.
I got mixed up. I'm sorry in the very beginning of this. Nick is right. It's before and.
Yeah. I don't know.
He bought blank comma, and
yeah. I don't use the Oxford comma unless there's some sort of, I don't know.
Workforce 520 says, I use Oxford comma because it looks proper to me. And indeed it is. I had a textbook that alternated between using it and not using it, and it bugged me. Yeah, that's the thing. Either use it or don't, but commit.
Yeah, well, if it's a textbook, I imagine it passed through many hands.
Yeah.
So you got a writer who used it and a writer who didn't.
Yeah.
But unless it's a textbook attributed to one author, and even then it could be many editors. So who knows?
Paul 006, thank you for your donation, says, what kind of gin and vermouth are you using? I'm using double bottom shelf. I use Gilby's gin because $8.49, and I use Trumblow dry vermouth because it's like $2.89. I
mean, it's probably sacrilege to say for the booze enthusiasts and boozyists, I don't know, that to me, gin is gin.
Gin is kind of gin.
It's just whatever. It's
now, American Airlines, you ask for a gin and tonic, you're getting Bombay Sapphire. You may not be getting, no, they don't have Hendrix, but you'll get Bombay Sapphire. And we've been over this before, haven't we? That now that we know if we're sitting in an exit row, we get booze.
Which I feel like I'm owed back drinks from all the time that I didn't get booze in the exit row.
All those, we had 2 trips, we had the trip to Austin. I'm like, I didn't drink. I'm like, I'll have a tonic water or nothing. That's gin and tonic. That's gin and tonic is now my airline drink.
I just have a Merlot or something. Nice. Because I don't know. I'm a wino. I like it. Yeah.
I saw at the state store they're selling wine in cans now, like beer cans.
Cans.
Can-o wine.
Oh man, they're pulling straight from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah, because they would drink a box wine and just have a can under it, and then they're praising what a great idea it is, except it stained their mouth somehow. I've never gotten mouth stains from wine. I don't get how.
Ooh, I get them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, your teeth change a little.
I'm the
color,
swishy guy.
Yeah.
You swish?
Oh no, I don't swish. That's probably why. So I guess I'm not really a cultured wino. I don't talk about, it's got a long nose and full bodied and
Clake from State Farm, $10 says, I love your channel. I agree on the Oxford comma. Only schmucks don't use it. New York Times case in point. Thanks for the many excellent automotive histories and poop jokes. Do you like to cook? I do like to cook, but I like to cook for efficiency. because I eat the same dinner every night. I eat steamed rice, mixed vegetables, and a revolving door of meats. And because it's the type of dinner I can like over there is where my computer desk is, and I eat at my computer desk because I don't have a table in this apartment. This on this laptop is, well, actually there's a coffee table over there, but yeah. The
excuse me.
What was I talking about? Something. Anyway. Do I like to cook? Yes. But I have a goal, and it's a very pedestrian goal of learning how to cook a steak properly on a stove. And I still haven't mastered it. I pulled it off once in Alaska, and I don't know how I know how I did it, but I haven't been able to replicate it here.
Oh.
What I did was I took a steak, and it was frozen too. It was a frozen steak. I let it thaw out for like 2 days. I packed it in salt. I beat it with a hammer while it was still in a plastic bag. Then I packed it in salt, then rinsed off the salt, and then threw it in a pan with butter, and it was ungodly good. And I pulled it off once and haven't pulled it off again.
Last week, my brother made dinner, and he had like a mid-rare steak, and it was like killer. And cast iron skillet, you're basting it and going over and sort of, and then after a while he gets it to a point where like all he has to do is like sear for a little bit. And like, I don't know, I should have watched him do it, but I was just kind of in my own world writing, and it's just kind of crazy how getting steak correct is an art unto itself. Like, never mind the rest of the culinary arts.
I don't think either of us have gone to the Brick House and asked for a steak.
I've not.
That would be a thing, like a celebratory thing for something. Just say, hey, we've never had a steak here.
Yeah, if we get to like 1 million subscribers, we'll like just live
steak.
Yeah.
See, that's the weird thing. Steak isn't really expensive. Like around where we are, a steak dinner will be $30. It's a lot of money, but compared to like the city or something, it's not.
Yeah.
So, and when I say city, I'm alternating between Philly and the 5 boroughs.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, yeah.
So yeah, thanks from Cake from State Farm. Daniel Norton says, please watch the movie Meet the Feebles. I thought that was a trash movie and I didn't watch it. Did you watch Meet the Feebles? Okay. You'll either love it or it'll be your suicide note. I mean, is that a screwball comedy? Is that Meet the Feebles? Is that in line with like
looking it up?
That Adam Sandler's movie where he dressed in drag? No, not that one. The other one.
Oh, like Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a parody.
While he looks that up, I'm going to answer this question for Shutterfly. Shutterfly says, have you ever skied elk? No, I have never skied Elk Mountain in northern PA, because that's the thing about Pennsylvania. It's really easy to get to Philly. It's really easy to get to Allentown in Jersey. It's easy. It's a pain in the ass, but it's easy. But it's a nondescript drive to Pittsburgh. But getting up into northern Pennsylvania, there's no major highways. Like getting to State College from here is almost the same amount of time as it takes to get to Pittsburgh. Because it's just like back roads. Well, maybe not. It's like 3 hours, I think.
Yeah, to get to State College, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, it's not a bomb highway, because once you get up deep into the Appalachians and getting over them, it's just like, So no, I've never been to Elk.
And Meet the Feebles is from Peter Jackson, director of Lord of the Rings. It's from 1989. Fame-seeking members of the animal kingdom experience the sleazier side of show business in this puppet-filled parody.
Oh.
So it's Jim Henson-esque, puppets. It's not quite a mop, and it's not quite a puppet,
but
man. So to answer your question, I don't know. But, yeah.
I knew this one guy in college, Kevin Boyle. He was really into Muppet culture, which I didn't know was a thing.
Huh.
Yeah. Like people make their own and stuff.
Oh,
like Techmoan has like a Muppet of himself. Or maybe it's a puppet. I don't know the difference.
I would love to have a felt puppet of myself.
Yeah.
Like, just for humor's sake. Of course, then I'd become that like annoying ventriloquist guy as opposed to just that annoying guy.
And you learn like 3 magic tricks.
Yeah,
you show up at TGI Fridays.
It's like, oh, Nick's here. Oh, little Nick's here too. Like, it's just, hey, guys, what are you going on about?
It's the not getting laid version of the acoustic guitar.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyway,
man, if I learned like a bunch of chords on the acoustic guitar, like that's the thing that I envy about you. That being like the acoustic guitar is the in.
Yeah.
I mean, Wonderwall jokes aside.
Funnily enough, I don't actually know. I never learned how to play Wonderwall, and I refuse to learn how to play, even though like it's probably the easiest song in the world. But it's just a matter of principle for me. Of course, I say that, and
it's like shopping at it's the Walmart of. It's a Walmart song played on a Walmart guitar.
Yeah. It's just you're in the aisle now, and you want to be reminded of 1995.
Zap B42, no question. But thank you for your donation, sir. The same with Nullifiction. No question, but thank you for the generous donation. Rob C. Motoring just saying, here again, and happy 4th, RCR. I have no plans for tomorrow. Actually, I think I'm going to go hang out with Tony Airlines, which means I think I'm driving to somewhere near Princeton, New Jersey. I know the town, but it's not coming to me right now.
I love the idea that at any given time, Tony Airlines could be anywhere.
Oh, he says he's casually flying to the UK Friday. He's like,
cash.
Because he has off until like the 12th. Like he's not scheduled to fly anywhere. It's like, I'm just going to hitch a ride to the UK. I mean, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, if I could just...
Because I was thinking about Tom Clark last night because I listened to a few songs by The Enemy. And I'm like, I wonder what Tom Clark's up to.
Yeah, I still follow him on like social media. He just never posts anything.
Nah.
Same with Kate and them. And so I was just kind of interested in, and strangely enough, like a musical about The Enemy came out, like since we were there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. It's something that is, it feels farther away than it probably is. If you can just casually go there.
It's a 7-hour flight.
Yeah.
And you can take it any time you want.
Yeah.
We can be at his house.
You could be back the same day.
Yeah.
If you left like really early in the morning, just slept on the flight, woke up, just screwed around, provided you didn't have jet lag.
Right. It's so weird. I was on the elliptical machine last night and I watched like 2 or 3 live videos or live performances by The Enemy that are on YouTube. And it's like something like Brighton Festival or something, 2008. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, all these people are singing this guy's songs. And I shit up that guy's bathroom.
Yeah.
like that's the link. It's the moment. Like, that guy is a legit, like, to me, Tom Clark is just this guy who's into old cars and we talk about F-150s. And I know this is a humble brag. It's like, this guy is a rock star, but to me, he's a guy we just talk about cars.
Like, he's played in front of more people than I will ever like see with 2 eyes in my entire life. It's just strange to me. Like when they're all singing like You're Not Alone. And he's at like the O2 in Wembley. And it's just like, I'm like, that's
holy shit. How do you keep it together on stage?
I'm just like,
that's a question for Tom, because we hardly talked about music. How do you keep it together in front of the population of a small town? And they're all singing this. I wonder if it's like an out-of-body experience.
I can only imagine it would have to be. I mean, I have trouble singing in front of 20 people at an open mic. Like, now I'm not performing at the level of a Tom Clark, who's writing at the level of a Tom Clark. It's just when you create something that people have that type of connection to, for a lot of people, that's like their adolescence, or maybe it's something like, it's kind of how Green Day talks about Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, how when they wrote the song, it's like they didn't think they were writing anybody's prom song or graduation song. They were just writing a song. And so I imagine it's the same for The Enemy and like for Tom Clark, because, you're writing a song, but that could be a pivotal part of the soundtrack of someone's life. And all of a sudden, like, they're finally getting to see you. Of course they're going to sing your stuff.
that was my moment when I went to see the Slackers at Mr. Small's Theater in Millvale, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh, for people who are wondering. And that was only like last year or the year before. It was Tim Strickler, Coraline, and myself. And one of the opening, I wore an RCR shirt on the off chance anybody from the Slackers knew RCR. But one of the lead singer for an opening band saw that shirt and was like, "Holy shit, are you him?" And I'm like, and then he actually called out from the stage, like, "We have a celebrity in the audience." Now, granted, this is Mr. Smalls, so it's just a little venue.
Yeah,
it's literally a block from Tim's house, Tim's old house. Now he moved, south of Pittsburgh, so or north, I forget. He's like an hour out of Pittsburgh now, which is Pittsburgh traffic, which is like Pittsburgh. Driving around Pittsburgh is like New Zealand because it's all hills.
Yeah.
So it's not miles, it's time. Anyway, that was a huge deal for me seeing the Slackers, because during my incredibly depressive state, 2007, which ended in 2008, like that was me, therapist, not medication, but like dropped out of grad school. That was before I met you. Because grad school for me is grad school part 1 and grad school part. Actually, no. Grad school part 1 is split in half. It's like pre-depression, post-depression. I lasted not even a year in grad school. It just kicked my ass and thought, I'm going to be stuck in Pennsylvania forever. Yeah. I can't hack it here.
Yeah.
Until I realized that, just the act. I didn't know that in grad school for writing, if you just show up, you're getting a B.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought this is my ticket away from my parents. Not to knock my parents, but it's like everybody else left this county. I'm the last one here, and I'll never leave, and blah, blah, blah. Even though I still live in this county, I can leave anytime I want. It's different now.
Exactly. Like you have the means by which to, people who are tied down with kids and a mortgage don't have the same freedom,
So anyway, but as I went through therapy, I mean, we'll be honest, it's not really a downer. I don't look at it as a downer. I just look at it as honesty. It was like, I was suicidal because I thought if I can't grasp this knowledge of English literature, that means I'm not getting out. That means I'm going to be a loser and everything. I'm going to be living in my parents' house forever. And I had a Ruger GP 100 357 Magnum. And at one point it was loaded and it was right here. And I'm like, all I have to do is pull this hammer back and pow, it could go off. Now, I since sold, I don't own any handguns anymore. Yeah. Like people say, Mr. Regular, review handguns.
Yeah.
I don't touch them. That's a lie. I've shot some. I have a few friends who have them, and I've been in a range. I'm like, yes, I remember how, but as a rule, I don't get near them because it just feels weird.
Yeah. It takes you back to a dark period in your life. And even though you came out on the other side of it in a better state, it's still not pleasant to go back to that sort of memory of ideation where you're suddenly like the person you were for a few moments.
Right.
I can't say that I haven't like had the exact same thoughts where I'm thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I could, and it's a slippery slope, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's better to get the help that you need when you need to get it and not feel any shame about asking for help.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that like I'm able to sort of thrive right now in the face of my anxiety. Because, and it's a depressive state too, but I still have things around me that matter. So,
Yeah. And I remember, and like the postscript of this is stuff that came out in therapy, like, and my sexuality came into it as well, of course. Yeah. If you want to really dice it down, I'm like this subset of asexuality called demisexuality, which I don't really feel attraction to people unless like I can afford, grab some like emotional bond. So like and that was another thing that was super frustrating. Like going out on dates, it's like, I don't fucking feel anything.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with me? So anyway, and that's like a weird thing. Like, I have to talk to someone for like a few years before I feel anything. So, but now at least I have the words to describe what that is.
Yeah.
And anyway, so as I went through therapy and got out of it, I got super into ska music. So, because it was like happy songs, and I really got into working out and cardio and everything. So I listened to tons of the Slackers, and then finally a few years, like last year or the year before, I can't quite remember. I went to see them, and I'm like, holy crap, I know every single one of these songs. Because back before they really locked down on BitTorrent, like, I have some Slackers albums. I'm sorry, Vic, but I did download a bunch. But I came out and I bought a bunch of merch at the show. And I'll see you guys again. But I knew all the songs. And I'm like, holy crap, I knew every single one of these songs. And I was singing along and had a great time. And how did I get to talking about the Slackers? Oh, it is almost 7:30. So if you can, please stop doing super chats. Because we need we had this long conversation. And I really need to get to them. In fact, I'm going to get the sign. The question right now, hey guys, usually have class. I usually miss these. Glad I could watch live. I wish I had an interesting question. Yeah, Zap B42. That's $5. Thanks. Nope. Nope. For $2 says, what do you guys think of the alt-right? I think everybody has their cross they want to nail themselves up upon and their hill they want to die on. And that's all I really want to touch on that topic. Thanks again. Quinn Dickinson.
Hey,
I was just thinking, I think of you every time I see a fire truck. Getting some exhaust work done on my Volvo S80 soon. What did it need? My mid muffler to delete. Uh-oh. And new muffler. Almost at 200,000 miles. Any update on an S80 review? Yeah, just come to the Racquetball Club sometime. We'll figure it out. I'm going to message you sometime about some fire truck events. I'm digging the fire truck events, but the thing about going to a fire truck show is I have no idea what I'm looking at. Because fire trucks are fire trucks.
Yeah, it's not like planes where you're like, okay, I know that.
Okay, Quinn knows all about fire trucks, and he knows tons of history. Like, the thing about fire trucks is that they're almost all coach builds, made specifically for like communities and stuff like that. Whereas airplanes are built by firms and they're kind of the same. I mean, they're outfitted different on the inside. Well, to make that the same, I wish I'm like, for Quinn's sake, I try to get into fire trucks, but to me, they all look the same. They're like the Borg. It's a fire truck. Beginning and end of my thought process on this vehicle.
Assimilation complete.
Yeah. Thanks though, Quinn Dickinson. We'll figure out the Volvo thing. Jesse Galver, Schilling Bruin in Littleton, New Hampshire. If you're in the White Mountains, Garrison City in Dover. Where do you think car culture would be without Lee Iacocca? I think if he didn't do what he did, we probably would have had the Cardinal, because that's what McNamara wanted instead of the Mustang. Ford would have pushed small displacement stuff, but you see, the baby boomers were young and something would have happened, because people called like other cars, like Chrysler had like the 300 before that. There were large displacement engines. And it probably would have been GM, honestly. They would have come up with something.
But it makes me wonder about the proliferation of things like the minivan in the 1980s. You know, like after the Chrysler bailout, suddenly you have all these full-size vehicles, but also vehicles that are geared towards family in a period where we're coming out of the obsession with imports, the fascination with foreign cars. And so the 1980s, like,
Is this?
It's a line.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's.
Can you read it?
Yeah, you can read it.
Okay. It's all kind of warped because it's all crumpled up in the corner.
But yeah, from like a car culture standpoint, like, it's kind of makes me wonder, like, the entire landscape would be different, because I can't imagine anyone else securing the government bailout loans.
Right.
The way that
Chrysler probably would have gone under.
Yeah. And then suddenly, just having a Chrysler jacks everything up in the price range now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
If Iacocca's not around. So yeah, he was massively important.
Jesse Gower says, Schilling Brewing in Littleton, Ohio, if you guys are near the White Mountains, Garrison City and Dover. Where do you think Oh, we just answered that. I'm sorry. So sorry. Very legal and very cool and very generous donation. Thank you. When you guys come to Seattle, I'd love to take you guys hiking out on our beautiful coast. The roads are very similar to those in New Zealand. We also have great skiing. Yay! What are both of your thoughts on Frank Kafka's The Hunger Artist? Never read it.
Never read it. Sorry. Yeah. I wish. I mean, hey, summer reading material. So maybe.
Frederick Knutson from Down the Rabbit Hole suggested I get up on this one Asimov novel because I read some Asimov in high school. I read 9 Tomorrows, which I think was a compilation of short stories. But I never read this one novel, and it's on my Amazon list. Normally what I've been doing is I'll make an Amazon order every month. I'll just build my cart up.
Yeah.
And then it's usually stuff related to the show. And then after the Patreon comes in, and thank you for everybody who donates on Patreon. Once that comes in, I'm like, okay, got some money for the show and maybe money for myself, and I'll make the Amazon order.
Yes.
So that's when that book's coming in. But if you have any other suggestions for bathroom reading, please let me know.
I love those Uncle John's bathroom readers.
I hate those books.
I love those books.
Oh, really?
All throughout high school, I would just sit in the bathroom, and I was probably giving myself hemorrhoids from sitting there for so long. But still, it was just, they had sections divided into how long your sit was going to be.
Really?
And it was filled with completely useless information.
That was the thing. It was useless to me. I wanted to learn something while I push something. Nope said, did Iacocca have a hand in American culture? Did Iacocca have a hand in American car culture becoming stagnant and having to be bailed out repeatedly? In other words, I think you're asking, did he set a precedent? In his eyes, he didn't, because in his autobiography, they bailed out other large manufacturers before, perhaps not automotive manufacturers, but it was still heavy industry.
Yeah, it was an attempt to keep the whole economy afloat.
Right.
I mean, and the idea that it wouldn't have stagnated anyway feels like a misnomer, a bad take, I guess. But by the same token, you could argue that, stuff like the 56 for 56 campaign, making cars more sort of new cars more accessible to people
through financing
sort of helped proliferate car culture. But then when it got to the sort of plateau that it reached with things like the Mustang, with things like the GTO, if you want to go over to Pontiac, and that whole subculture of cars, that you were going to get stagnation, especially as the boomers got older and they valued cars less and family investment more, I suppose.
Yeah,
it was the Reagan years.
Right. Yeah. But one of the big things about the bailout from Chrysler is that when Iacocca paid the government back, he did it with a gigantic check in front of a press conference. So it was well known that, look, this was a bailout, but we paid every single cent back.
Yeah.
So whether GM did that yet, I don't know. And probably if they maybe didn't have a big foam core check that they signed and said, here is all the money back.
Yeah.
Ford, by the way, made it well known to everybody that they didn't take bailouts. So that's a thing. So it's a problem, I guess, of how much does it cost to send out a tweet and just say, hey, we're at the Radisson. Come here, we're bailing it out. Somebody come with a handy cams and film this. Yeah. Oh, people were saying F.
No, for Iacocca, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Going through here. Taro Unterberger, 569. Nice. Longtime fan. If I drove my shitbox Volvo 242 Plus T out to you, would you review it and give it the glorious 240? Give the glorious 240 some recognition from your previous review. Funny thing about the Volvo 242, I think I had this fan art that said The Volvo 242 is the closest thing that resembles Beatrice Santello's car from Night in the Woods. I'm interested in seeing one of those cars in person. Does yours have the round headlights? I hope it does. Again, Tara, what you need to do is send an email to regularcars@gmail.com. Year, make, model, city, state in the title of the email and also in the body of the email. Write your phone number and a picture of the car if you want. Thank you very much, and I'll do what I can. How come he hasn't done a CRZ? CRZs pop up again and again. It's just time and scheduling. That's the reason I haven't done it. Rafael Varga doesn't have a question, but thank you for the €1. Brian Sofield also doesn't have a question, but thank you so much for your generous donation as well. Paul Wagner, nice. And people were nicing as well in comments to that. Joe Man Bodyguard doesn't have a question, but thank you so much for your donation. Cravy's Eyes Ivan 2 times. It wouldn't be a podcast if it wasn't for you. Thank you again for the $1. Gin and tonic help prevent malaria too. I guess this is where I was talking about drinking on planes.
Oh, the gin thing?
Yeah. Murray Mac and Shaka. This is one thing there that I have a hard time reading. Skiing in Mammoth is still going on too. Damn, it is really. Murray Mac-and-Chan. I'm gonna not even try. Sorry, but skiing in Mammoth is still going on too in July. Really? I've never done the skiing in like shorts and t-shirt. That's something I'd like to do after I saw like old VHS videos of people doing that in the 80s. Oh, someone says I-81 goes to Elk Mountain. Really?
Didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
There was a question in the live chat about thoughts on fireworks becoming legal in PA, and what I realized, like, you know, those like illegal fireworks that they had. I realized that with this, there are fewer of those fireworks tents than I've ever seen before.
Yep.
Like, they're nowhere to be found.
There's one like down there at the Cressona Mall, and that's the only one, and one up by the Cabela's. That's it.
And all the fireworks are in like the supermarket now, like as you're leaving.
Oh, the Freedom Kit.
Yeah.
I had this post I sent to the Johnsons down in New Zealand. One had like Extreme Man, like everything's Marvel Universe now.
Yeah.
So it's just like Fireworks Man, and it was like really well drawn. I'm like, they put a lot of effort into this packaging for something that's going to be thrown away and burned up.
Yep. That's America.
I think we got to the end of the questions. I
feel like there was another live chat question that I wanted to. What's
this knife in my back? GM.
I was wondering if
735. Yeah, we're right on. Yeah. We're right on part. Yeah.
I was wondering if you guys would ever consider going to Honda Fest in Connecticut. I've never been to Connecticut.
Weirdly. I've driven through it.
Oh, maybe I've driven through it. Like as a kid.
No, I've never been to Honda Fest. That would be a thing.
That would be.
No longer have a fit, but
this person says, "How have you guys not done an EK Civic yet? I have a completely stock '98 hatch that I've emailed in around 2 years ago."
Well, you can bump the email. Again, if it's in a part of the country where we're not going to get to, you know, it is what it is.
Oh, and this one, Martini Racing. Speaking that, what's all yours opinions about bourbon?
Bourbon?
Bourbon.
Love bourbon. Now, well, normally we drink scotch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bourbon comes around. I think I had it once on a plane and like pretended I was Hunter S. Thompson, but that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, he drank Wild Turkey. Well, that is bourbon. That's Kentucky bourbon.
It's, I don't know. I do. Wait, no, Oban isn't bourbon. And why am I? That's the thing of trying to differentiate between bourbon, whiskey, and rye. And I'm sure we literally had this conversation on a podcast before, and somebody in the chat described it. So I'll have to go back and watch that again and really get the 411.
Justin Burnash from Prime Driven knows the difference. So that's a thing. Speaking of liquor, I am going to get my third tiny gin and tonic. Not even that. It's a martini. Have some more water, Brian. Thank you for asking my question. I saw something once that I haven't seen since a Dodge Durango, but the rear side windows were just metal, making it like a van. Kind of like how the HAR has a cargo version. I don't even think they did that on a Dodge Durango, but I could be wrong. Unless somebody just like painted over their windows.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of weird things that I never thought I'd see that I keep seeing, like the proliferation of the Polaris slingshot.
Right.
I really thought that was going to be like a one-off thing.
Right.
And now they're like the spotted lanternfly.
Yeah.
They're all
Polaris slingshot is everywhere. And that other sort of tricycle one with the double wheels in the front. Unless that's also a Polaris. Yeah. They'd be wise to just that corner of the market on like I had this picture I sent to Tony Airlines. It's like, here comes, I forget what I said to him. Something to the tune of, here comes Pop Future or time traveling Pop, whatever. It was an excuse to just take a picture of this grandpa guy, no helmet, of course.
No, they never do.
On the Polaris or on the frontward facing snowmobile like road going vehicle. Yeah. Wearing the polo shirt and the gigantic carbohydrates belly and what it needed to have is the Jetsons sky car noise as he's going away. Unlimited breadsticks.
It's like a late generation X's revenge against millennials for confusing them. So now they want to confuse millennials back.
Yeah.
Make them say, hey, what's that? I'm scared by things I don't understand.
The world's getting weird and I don't know what to do about it. Okay, but I know what to do about it. It's called gin.
When is the next Massachusetts visit? Have we ever been to Massachusetts?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go to Beantown eventually. Do they still call it Beantown, Boston? I don't even know. It gave us such wonderful things as Bill Burr, and I imagine other really good things. They gave us New Kids on the Block. Why is that the like second thing that popped into my head? I think like it gave us the Wahlbergs. Like, why am I thinking of these things when Boston's probably given us, a lot of other things? I mean, I still from time to time watch Bill Burr's rant about Philadelphia when he completely ranted against the crowd that turned on him. And I just, yeah. Oh, that's a good answer. Life in the 413. Yeah, Boston gave you a place called America. But yeah, it's something unique in the sense that Boston has a very lively and active car culture from what I have been made to understand. And so I personally would love to visit it sometime. It's just, I also hear that it's a nightmare to get around if you're in the city proper. So we would end up probably being in a suburb of Boston and sort of having a base of operations from there. Now, this is just me spitballing because, the vacation or not vacation, the travel plans are sort of, they come as they come,
right.
Like we'll figure out after Canada where next. And that's, someone asked if we were doing in the live chat earlier if we were doing the Woodward Dream Cruise, and that's pass. I mean, it's not that it's something that we wouldn't want to do, it's just that we like to kind of space out our sort of work related travel.
And I also looked at the hotels for Woodward Dream Cruise and they surge price like crazy.
It's like New York
Hampton Inn was like $290 a night.
Yeah, and like you can write it off, but you're not seeing that money.
No.
It's that's why I try to get
watch a bunch of cars drive by.
Yeah.
I feel that we get spoiled to the point that it looks really dark, doesn't it?
Oh, because of the sign.
Oh, it was white balancing for the sign. And the sign fell off. That was timing. That was great timing.
That was amazing timing. But still, don't send any questions.
Press F for the sign.
Yeah.
I feel like we legitimately get spoiled. Not only are we at a museum, we're at a museum when it's closed.
Yeah.
And we just get to drive what they have in stock.
Yeah.
And the idea of going to just a car show and watching cars drive by, and it's like, I expect to be able to at least get in them and drive them around a parking lot. And I can understand how celebrities just ask for things.
Like, I remember when I met you in grad school and you were the guy with the motorcycle. And you were like the first and only friend that I had for like my entire first year of grad school. Right. And, I imagine like telling that guy that, hey, you're going to get to go to this museum in Nashville and drive all these weird cars. Like, I still have the notes in the little printout note in my pocket for the really weird thing that we did in Nashville. Like the super weird thing.
Yeah.
And I need to write about that. But it's one of those things that I would never have, like, it would not have occurred to me then. And it still kind of doesn't occur to me now. Like, I'm still amazed. Like, when we walked into the auto Lane Motor Museum, there we go. It's just like the idea of all these different rare cars, and any one of them is drivable. Like, you could drive any one of them out of there. They just need to get a plate on it.
Yeah.
And it's just insane to me of just like, why is this not like packed every single day that it's open? And for all I know, it is, but we were on one of the 2 days where they're closed.
Yeah.
So it's just very interesting. And if you ever get the opportunity, I know it's a very cheap plug, but please go to Lane.
Did we ever get to drive the propeller car at Lane? You're talking about the Akranaplan. No, we didn't. Jason Torshinsky did drive that, and I think they threw hot dogs through the propeller, and they said that the car makes no sense. It has no torque, because a propeller is meant to pull a car through a vehicle through an air, and a plane is way lighter than a road-going vehicle.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense.
No, half the things in there don't make any sense. Yeah. There's this car that I wish I could remember what it was called. It looks like the haircut from Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Like, it's just
digging deep.
Like, yeah, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's
was that the one that's all stained like silver or stainless steel?
No, this one it was like rhubarb color. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a trapezoid or some kind of mathematical shape that I don't understand because I was a liberal arts major. So it's just madness, all the things that they have in there, and it's a rotating collection,
right?
So that, you know, next time we go there, we might have like completely different things there to see and to experience. And so it was really cool getting to go.
This is non sequitur, but it's a wrestling question.
Oh, go for it.
When did Mankind start? Like I know, like, not regional stuff. Like, when was he on TV?
Well, Mick Foley's career goes back way to the 1980s when he was Jack Foley. Then he was Cactus Jack Manson. Then when he became sort of rehired by World Championship Wrestling, I think in the early 90s, he asked for them to drop the Manson. And so he became known as Cactus Jack. He became popular, eventually went from WCW to ECW as Cactus Jack. And then he debuted in the World Wrestling Federation in spring of 1996 as Mankind. And from there, because Vince was like, oh, we're going to call you the Mutilator. We've never had a guy called the Mutilator before. And the whole way that you deal with Vince McMahon, apparently, according to Foley, is that you take his idea and say, you know what, that's great, but how about this? And so he pitched like the Mankind character. And this happens would happen all the time. You know, like Steve Austin was going to be like Chili McFreeze or something. Until his wife, who was British, or his wife at the time, was saying, you need to drink your tea before it becomes stone cold. Like, and that type of thing, it like carries off from there. But why Mick Foley?
I remember he was the guy who had the sock puppet, right?
Yeah, Mr. Sacco.
But that was late 90s.
Yes.
Okay. Then I remember it might have been The Undertaker then. Like, there were a few wrestlers who just scared me as a little kid. But when we're a little kid, we're talking about late 80s, early 90s, so that wouldn't have been Mick Foley.
No.
Who on the earth would have been that in like 91, 92? See, a few of my neighbors watched
Papa
it.
Shango, maybe. Like the weird voodoo priest who made the Ultimate Warrior vomit Campbell's soup. It's the wrestling, but it's sports entertainment. I'll tell you what.
But does The Undertaker go back to the 80s?
Yeah, well, he debuted in 1990. as the Undertaker.
Okay, then I guess that wouldn't have made sense. I think that had the best, like him and the manager as like the guy who carried the urn.
But like Paul Bearer, and the great thing about it is that like he was an actual mortician.
Oh, really? The Paul Bearer guy?
Yeah, he had his certification and everything before he got into pro wrestling as a manager, and then after that, like he was a manager in I think like World Class Championship Wrestling before they're like, hey, we're bringing him in as a Paul Bearer character. And so yeah, it's very interesting kind of seeing the evolution of the Undertaker, because he's still around. He just had a match with, like, he's not around regularly. He shows up every now and then. He's in his like 50s, and he's, the thing with the Undertaker is that like he's had so many chances to really call it a career and sort of go out on a high note, ride off into that sunset. But he comes back because they offer him like seismic shitloads of money to do like one more match. And I get it. I wouldn't be able to resist either. But he had this match in Saudi Arabia with Bill Goldberg like 3 weeks ago, which was one of the worst matches ever. No, well, okay, that's hyperbole, and I'm embarrassed to have said that. But it's one of those things where like, okay, Goldberg goes for a spear, he knocks himself into the post, gets himself knocked loopy, and suddenly this match completely falls apart. Like they're not able to get their moves out, they're not able to actually connect or get anything, going. And so I don't know, it was just a mess
House
of a
the
match.
Maid. I see what you're trying to ask me something. I'm sorry.
No. I was pretty much done.
Okay.
So,
you know what it was? I think it was the time I got really super high at Matt Fisher's house. And then, but this would have been in 2008. Mankind would have still been wrestling, or Mick Foley.
No,
was he done by then?
Yeah, he was like done. He, or at least as Mankind, like he did.
I have this really bad memory of Mankind and the sock puppet, but I can't remember where it's from.
I mean, it easily could have been one of those episodes where you just, they're playing old clips, like a clip show of just like, hey, these are classic moments in wrestling history, like the time Mankind fell off of like the 16 feet off the Hell in a Cell in Pittsburgh and by all rights should have been killed.
God, I remember that time. I was at Matt Fisher's house. Shout out to Matt Fisher, where I got super stoned because Luke Glogg had some weed and I hit it hard because I was that type of weed smoker. This is so dumb. I would say, yeah, I was in swim team in middle school and I would take these, I would exhale all of my air. I would go, but I don't hold that shit. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're just like Macho Manning the
cream
of the crop
fires to the top. I did that shit twice. And I went to the I was going, and then I did it twice. And then I go back into Matt's house and he was watching wrestling, and maybe it was a clip show. I don't know, but like everything but the TV was really getting blurry. And I had these off, like the moment I knew I was going under.
Yeah.
Whereas I had this moment where I don't know if what's happening is what's really happening or if I'm imagining it.
Yeah.
So I go back out to the porch. I sit with Luke, and Luke was dressed as, I'm serious. This is how the party went down. Luke was dressed as a pirate, but it's April. It's not Halloween. Luke was just dressed as a pirate for this party.
Yeah.
And Luke knew, because Luke sat next to me in Latin class. God, I miss Latin class because I just would bullshit with Luke Glogg every single day. And I learned nothing in Latin class. Anyway, but I started to think that the entire universe is Luke Glogg telling me that that I'm his friend or that he's my friend. He's like, I'm her friend. Everything's okay. Turns out I tried to jump off the porch and I bit Matt Fisher. I don't have no memory of biting Matt Fisher. Now, Matt Fisher played, or I don't know if he still plays, but at the time was playing semi-pro football. So he was a big dude.
Yeah.
And he told me later, like, dude, after that, I was ready to fucking punch you.
Yeah.
Because I was super freaking out. Who drove me home? Amanda drove me home.
It was a girl, because I remember you said that like the next morning you called like, where's my car? It's like, so do you want to know what you did? Like, and I've had that call. That's not a good call.
The thing is, like, all of that, and then I threw up in somebody's shoes in the car because I was getting the spins because I was drinking Miller High Life before I got high. So yeah, I'll still partake, but the set and setting has to be, it's got to be really comfortable.
Yeah.
It's got to be like farm. The setting has to be the physical manifestation of Fish's Farmhouse album.
Yeah. It sounds like you want to go to the place from the movie that just came out today, Midsummer, and I read that screenplay. It's a completely bonkers movie. And it's from the director of Hereditary, writer-director, and so I'm probably going to see it, even though Hereditary was kind of whatever for me, but still.
Someone says, I always pound 6 Millers before I bong hit. I love to trip balls. The spins are not fun, man. I don't know what you're
they're the worst part
about.
Of boozing up. I mean, it's that thing.
See, that's the thing is you start drinking Miller High Life or Coors Banquet or Steel Reserve or Woodchuck cider, and you get drunk confidence, and then weed shows up, and you're like, fuck yeah.
My buddy Weed came. Yeah, yo, we've been waiting for you all day.
Dude, we have to be really specific about what, or like really vague about what you're talking about. But no, actually, I can't bring this up. I have to bring it up afterwards. But that one guy who lived in the neighborhood moved out, but that purple still, I can smell it. So it wasn't him, which means it's the other person.
Oh, wow.
Which is funnier.
That is hilarious. Stickiest of the icky.
Anyway, what do you guys think of Tarantino?
His
ninth movie is coming out this summer. What's his
name? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's like a fictionalized version of the 1970s, late 60s, early 70s. I don't know. It's got like an all-star cast that you'd like rip your own nuts out to get on your movie. Like, it's got Leo, it's got Brad Pitt, it's got Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate, because they're going to be covering the Manson murders too. But trailer's out. Like, I would definitely go check out that trailer after this, but it's very much in line with the type of movie that Tarantino would do well in terms of like setting, subject matter. It's like with I don't know, it just looks really good.
What the heck? This is something that was tagged because he just said the word shit in it, but someone says he overdosed on Imodium.
I thought Imodium was supposed to. No, Imodium is the digest. It's like Mylanta.
Yeah,
but it's.
I don't know what this guy's talking about.
How do you? Well, I was gonna say, how do you know that you've overdosed on it? But I mean, clearly you're going to have. Signs.
I have the shits. I am unfamiliar with this.
I mean, I know
someone says it's close to opium. Oh, so it's like people thinking they're going to take a whole bunch of CBD oil and get high. The Ushanka shoe starts in 4. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks. All right. So
we are going to be wrapping this up. Everybody, you can follow me over to the YouTube channel Ushanka Show, as in it's Ushanka Show YouTube. We're all going over there. We're going to listen to this guy tell stories about growing up in Kiev in the fucking 80s. It's great. Like this dude, I've been binging all his stuff for honestly the past week. He's somewhere hovering around. He's under 100,000 subscribers, but he's going to get there. Yeah. This guy's got stories for days. And all it is just listen to this guy talk about the Soviet Union, and times are what they are. It's super relevant. And this guy talks slow, deliberately, and in a world where all of YouTube is just trying to grab your attention, this guy's playing the long game. It's what?
No, they say put a link in the chat, but I really don't. They're not live yet.
He's not live. I guess he didn't do a scheduled thing.
But it's spelled USHANKA, Ushanka show.
Yeah, I'll do it on my Twitter. I'll do it on Twitter. Here, you guys know my Twitter, and I'll. Oh, you found it?
Okay. Not really. I'll just type in because it's all caps. So I'm just gonna type Ushanka show, and I mean, if you can't copy paste that into YouTube, I don't know how to help you. So it's just
Control C, Control V, unless you're using a Mac, which is what this is. Yeah.
So
that's a show.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for everybody who donated on Super Chat. Thank you to everybody who donates on Patreon. You're helping fund our travel budget to get out. Our next city is going to be Toronto. Also, Toronto and RCR Car Meet will be Toronto. My apologies. Due to scheduling, we can't do it on a weekend. It's going to be like on a Monday or a Tuesday after your delightful civic holiday there in the beginning of August. So we will have the location. We'll post it on Twitter. Look out for Twitter because that's where we're going to have all our updates. Road trips after that, we don't know. We'll figure something out. It's probably going to be domestic.
Yeah.
Because we've been doing these international trips and ignoring different states in the U.S. So it'll probably be the easiest thing to wrap up the Northeast.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me. It's probably going to be Scottsdale, Arizona, because we want to the fuck this winter road trip in March. So it's going to be probably Arizona in March, Phoenix or Scottsdale, just to check out that crazy auction. You know what? It's 8 p.m. The guy says he's going to get started. Go. It's on. Everybody go to the Ushanka show. Thank you so much. This was the regular the RCR podcast. I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
Because you always do it.
We are who we are, and
I know what I know.
Yeah.
Don't I know you from the cinematographer's party?
Have a good one, everyone.
Good night.